Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Rosario Pangal, here with my partner.
Cole Bissett.
And welcome back, folks, to episode number 34. It took us, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to know, near bit an hour to set up for this podcast. Cole believed that he had figured out the way for us to be able to use two different microphones, and it sadly did not quite work. He gave it his best effort. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not think that Cole Bissett did not give his full effort, because he did. But we're back. We did not have an episode last Sunday. We both were down for the count with a sickness that we are still trying to work off of. But we said we'll battle through today, this week. And this one will come out right before Thanksgiving, just a couple days before Thanksgiving. What a great holiday. One of the best. Great Thursday. Get to just eat food and watch football. One of my favorites. And then we got Christmas coming up after that. So great part of the year. One of the best parts of the year, Cole. You know what they might say? It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's what they do say. That's what I say. Yeah. So, we've been dealing with a little bit of sickness. Cole, how's that been going for you? How you dealing with all that?
With my sickness, I'm dealing. It's pretty much gone now at this point. A lot of vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc. And you take some silver metal thing. What is it?
Silver Biotics.
Silver biotic. Apparently that works. So, yeah. But yeah, no, feeling good now. Just locking in for some tests. I had a test yesterday. Nazario prayed me up. I was good to go. Yeah, got a 90 on the test. What?
That was Monday.
Test Monday. Wait, is that not yesterday? Today's Wednesday? Whoa, that's weird. Is it really?
Yes, it really is.
Okay. Man, dude. I feel like I've lost complete total track of the week already. Okay. Tomorrow is my fluids test. I have a test tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, Nazario, I asked Nazario to pray for me for my chem test, and it went well. Chem's really not that terrible, but yeah, it went pretty well. And I was telling him, I said it's funny because I guessed like 5 to 7 questions on there, and I just took educated guesses, and I got like half of them right, and which is shocking because I had no idea what the answer was. And there were 4 questions, so that's a 25% chance each time to be 25% correct 50% of the time. Is that mathin'? Can I say that?
What you're saying is that you guessed, which gave on 7 questions, and each time you guessed, was a 25% chance, and you got. Well, you couldn't have gotten half of them right if there was 7, because that would be 3.5. So how many did you actually get right?
4.
You got 4 right. So that would be 0.25 times 0.25 times 0.25 times 0.25. Well, because the probability is 1 out of 4. Nah, you know what? This is. I forget it. 4 out of 7 that you got right. Yes. But the probability of you doing that is not 4 out of 7.
Oh, no.
That's what we were trying to figure out. The probability of you getting 4 out of 7 right with a 25% chance. This sounds like a permutation type of thing, and it's just not something we're going to do right now. But anyways, Cole had a great chemistry test. He guessed, and he got some right, and he didn't guess on a lot of it, though. He did get a 90%, ladies and gentlemen. So we're very happy for him. And then, he's been grinding his co-rec soccer. I almost said a different sport. Co-rec soccer. He's in the semifinals tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause for that. Trying to go on for back-to-back titles. You won it last year. Cole, that experience from last year, winning the title, what is that you think brought to the team this year, and how has that helped you guys, battle through some of the difficult circumstances this season has brought?
Well, what it has not brought this year was you. So Nazario just he had there was a lot of guys on the team last year, and he was a keeper, and so they needed a position to dump a girl in for, and so they're like, Nazario, we're gonna have to ask you to drop the team. And so Nazario's been too butthurt about it to come back. So he won't even just be on the bench just to be there, or even just come in as a right back or a left back, 'cause he knows that he could win a shirt with us, 'cause we were intramural champs. But what has it brought for me? This isn't about Nazario. You're right. This isn't about Nazario. This is about me and my team. It's been fun. Very, not very competitive, really. It's not like the games there. We had one. Ladies and gentlemen, the cat is back in the podcast.
Cole's being called. So, brief intermission. It is his girlfriend calling him. He's sending her a message. Give us a second. We are recording our podcast. So Cole in the Co-Rec playoffs. As you watch with a black screen on your thing. Oh, that is a crazy angle. What are we doing here? Put it back there, boy. This is crazy. This is being cut, right?
No way.
Then put it back. Cole with a classic little play right there. Not really sure what he's trying to do there. But as his computer charger falls out, this is being cut. No way. Plug your computer back in first. Plug it back in.
There's no cut in the Launch Sheet podcast. We're completely unfiltered, raw content.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, from the brief technical difficulties that Cole is going to cut out of the episode, and if he doesn't, I'm sorry you had to witness that. But yes, Cole Bissett, Co-Rec soccer playoffs, he's got that going on. But last night, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute heartbreaker for the boys, playing in the 3v3 men's basketball tournament. And we walked in, we said, we're playing an 0-2 team. We were 1-1. We'll have a shot. And then we saw our matchup, and we realized that this was the best 0-2 team in the history of organized athletics. And, man, it was an absolute battle. We were down 14-13. You played at 15, and I don't even remember. I was driving. I think I was driving, or did you get him open? I don't remember. But somehow Zach, our roommate, our wonderful roommate, he's open in the corner. He shoots a 3-ball for the win. It's a 2-pointer. We play 1s and 2s. He shoots it. Bang! Everyone falls to the ground. We were gassed. Everyone thought we won. And out of nowhere comes the call. You got to win by 2. We were only up by 1. So we had to go to win by 2. We're tied at 16. They got the ball. Top of the key. In Cole's mouth. This dude bangs a 3. And we lost. It was very unfortunate. It was a heartbreaker. We played our souls out, man. We gave it our all. It's a tough one. But Cole is going to redeem, us. He's going to go win this Co-Rec Soccer Championship. And we appreciate you guys listening to us rambling about sports. So let's get to the task at hand. Not quite the quote yet, because I need to do some clarification real quick, Cole, that I found out from one of our worthy listeners, many listeners that we have out there. But we're going to do a quick clarification of mindfulness, because we've been talking about it a lot.
Worthy listener that had questions for you?
Yes. And so,
Tell me about this worthy listener.
now you're going to hear. It's not important. So we're going to do a little bit of clarification on what we mean, what I mean specifically, by mindfulness, and why we are, talking about it so much, practicing it so much. And so I was talking to my girlfriend about this. She was not the one who brought this up, but we were talking through this. And so all the religions around the world, there's a ton of them, but they all have some semblance of truth in them. Is that right, Cole? Yes, they all have partial truth in them. And so we, as Christians, specifically as Catholics, we believe that we believe in the fullness, that we have the fullness of truth. But that does not mean that we cannot learn anything from other religions, because if there's partial truth in them, we should be able to identify that. And, if we want to use part of it in a way that we think is beneficial for our own faith, that's possible. And so the practice of mindfulness is not, like a Christian/Catholic teaching. You're not really going to see that out there. Not really a thing. But, there is partial truth in it. I would not say that you should, fully invest yourself, like, all into mindfulness as, like, your top-tier religion. That's not what we're saying out here. We're saying that it, as, a a practice that is a part of your life, can be incorporated as a type of prayer. That is how I use it. That is how I've tried to communicate with Cole. And I think I just assumed myself when I was talking about it that everyone. What are you doing with the pillow? Oh. Well, I assumed that when I was talking about it that you guys understood that it was a form of prayer. So that is what I mean by it. So what you're really trying to do, it's basically kind of like meditative prayer. But when people talk about meditative prayer, they never have really talked about the methods that are used in mindfulness to really help your mind be able to quiet down and to be silent and to be present in the moment. So really what it is taking the methods used in mindfulness by all these different religions and using those methods in meditative prayer, whether that's focusing on the breath, parasympathetic breathing, which is really awesome. Like, you guys should try that out. It really helps with reducing stress, and then just being able to be in the present and be able to listen, and things like that. So really what I mean by that is just these simple methods that help meditative prayer to be better and to be able to calm down our mind and really to help us to be able to focus better on things, and just listen to what God is trying to tell us. So hopefully that clarifies that for you guys. Cole, was that pretty clarifying?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So we are going to jump into our quote. We have a couch, ladies and gentlemen, that moves around a lot, so trying to figure it out here. I'm trying to sit close to Cole so we're not super far away, but there's like a little hole right here if you're on the video right here. If you're not, if you're on the podcast, it's like right on my right hip. So I'm like falling into it, trying to be next to Cole, but it's fine. So we're going to jump into the quote. And Cole, this is your quote. So your intro. Here you go. Well, hold on real quick. Bum, ba bum. The quote of the week.
So the quote of the week. I was just scrolling and I kind of went to YouTube and I was like, I kind of want to do something interesting. And so I looked up villain quotes that were right, which was funny. And so we bounced around through several different villains from movies over the years. And, we got some from Thanos. The strongest choices require the strongest wills, I think, is the one. Wait, no. Yes. Yes? And then, the strongest choices require the strongest wills. Is that right? Thanos. And then he is also the I'm an inevitable quote. And then, we got the Joker with his talking about civilized people and how nobody was civilized anymore. And so I was bouncing around and finally I came upon this one. And I've never seen this movie before, so I have no idea what the movie's actually about. I know it's a horror movie, but it's called Jigsaw or Saw. One of the two. I keep seeing different titles for it, but one of the two. And the quote, it's kind of deep, but it is this. The knowledge of death changes everything. I'm going to repeat it one more time. The knowledge of death changes everything. So what does that mean, right? We all know we're going to die. I think that's a very obvious statement. We're all going to die. Yeah, like that's going to happen. Everybody's going to die. I think in this instance, let's look at the extreme circumstance. Say someone is diagnosed with, is it terminal cancer? Diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they're given a clock on their life. And the doctor says, you got 3 months tops, maybe. Oh, and then that's it. I think that, in a sense, does change everything. And so I think if I ask myself that question, what am I going to do with the last 3 months of my life? That is going to put so much more value on everything I do. Not that I shouldn't put that much value, because we all have a clock right now that's happening. We don't know when the actual ending is, but we're all on the clock. One of the things you can't change and you can't control in the world is time. No matter what happens, time will always keep going. And so while we think sometimes that we have unlimited time, we don't. Time's running out. For some, it's running out very quickly. For others, you've got a minute. But the important part to know is that our time on this earth, my time, your time, Nazario's time, will end. And so when you think about it that way and put it into perspective and really try to live each day knowing that you're going to die and taking whatever you can in your day-to-day life and giving it as much value as possible, I think you begin to appreciate the little things a lot more.
So this reminds me of a book, or I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's just beeping going on outside the house. That's why we paused there for a moment. But it reminds me of a chapter that we read in my Art for Life's Sake class from a book called Free Play. And the chapter is called The Power of Limits. And if you can't tell from the title, it is talking about how there is a lot of power in limits, and there's a lot of good that can come from limits. So yeah, and I remember originally in that class when we talked and we had our discussion, I talked about how people get really scared, or they feel very enclosed within the limits of what God's commands are, and they say, oh, well, God has all these commands, all these laws, there's a lot of limits here, and I feel very scared about them, and I don't want them, I want to be able to be free, and all these different things. So yeah, that's what we talked about then, and in a way, death, if you're having the wrong mindset, can feel exactly like that it's this enclosed thing that's closing down on you. It's going to destroy you, and it's limiting you from doing a lot of things. But there is a lot of grace, and there is a lot of beauty in the power of limits, ladies and gentlemen. Going back to what I originally said about God's commands and laws, if we're hopefully living those out, we have been able to realize the beauty and the goodness in them. They are not a path towards a robotic, what's the right word here? Robotic, obedient robot. I just cannot think of another word to put, but basically, yeah, just a robot, an obedient robot. It's not a path towards that. That is not what God's laws and commands are. They are a pathway to true freedom, to be able to decide to do good and to fulfill and live out what our true creation as human beings is. We come from love, and we are called to love. If we're not following God's commands, then we are falling into death and into sin, and that is the opposite of what love is. And so we are not fulfilling, our mission as human beings. So God's laws and commands, although they are limits, there is a power to those limits because they give you the power to love. Going back to death, now that we've opened ourselves up to, okay, limits are okay, we can accept them, and they can lead us to a lot of good things through God's commands and laws, but there's a ton of other limits on the world that we could go into. But let's go into the limits of death and the fact that our lives are going to end. One of the beauties of the limits of death is that we have absolutely no idea when is going to happen. Father Mugaga, the legend, he's been on our podcast before, if you guys know him, one of his favorite homilies / sermons to talk about is that we don't know who's going to die next. He'll be sitting there on his little pulpit, and he goes, do you know who is going to die next? Is it you? Is it you? And we don't know. And it is true. We have no idea who's going to be the next person to die. And he says that's what he always says at funerals. We don't know who the next person to die is. That is a limit. We don't know. And it's a beautiful limit because it means that we can treasure and then we can use the time that we have before our death. But it's not a fearful, scared type of limit where we're so worried about our death that we have to frantically get in everything that we possibly can before we die. It's not that. It's a beautiful, hopeful type of limit because we understand, wow, I don't have as much time as I think that I need on this earth, but that means that I can value and appreciate it so much more because I know it's going to be over at some point. And that is the beauty of it. And once we come to this realization, it's this knowledge of death. It can change everything for us. It can change us from being a frantic, scaredy cat who's terrified about death into someone who appreciates that, one, death is awesome because it means that we get to go to heaven afterwards, hopefully that that's the goal, and that's going to be beautiful. Once we die, we get to see the Lord, and we can also think about, wow, I mean, this is going to end. I can I can bask in the joy of everything that life brings, because I know that it's not going to be forever. So yeah, there's my little rant, Cole Bissett. Yeah. Do you have anything? I have something else if you do not have anything to piggyback off that.
I was just gonna keep talking. Um, I'm gonna ask you a question or two. What would you do if you knew you were gonna die in, we'll say, 3 months?
Oh, if I knew I was gonna die in 3 months, I would go, and that's a tough decision though, because like you don't want to. I was totally gonna say that I would go marry Caitlyn, but like also I don't. That's a tough one because you don't know if you want to do that to the person if you know you're gonna die. Um, that's like the answer that jumps off the page. I would have to go to Italy because I've been dying to go to Italy. I would drop out of school because school is absolutely pointless at that point. So, I would record as many podcasts as we could, so you could have as much content to post. I would probably go. I know a lot of people would say, like, if we're living out our best life, that we should just continue living how we should, but like I would in some form or fashion, but still there's a lot of things that I haven't experienced that I can experience right now, because we're living our life in a good way. That's not mean we're living it in a wrong way, but yeah, there's like things I want to do. Like I really want to go to Italy, and I really would love to marry Caitlyn. Those are the two things that pop out in my head. Is that the answer you were looking for?
I wasn't looking for a specific answer. Just curious.
So can I ask it back at you? What would you do if you had 3 months to live?
I think a lot of what I would do would kind of fall on the virtue of fear of the Lord. I think that would kind of kick in big time, and I would think that my brain would go to get as many graces as possible. And I don't think I would like. I would go do all these experience, have these big things. Um, I don't know what I would do with my relationship with Caroline, because I'm again in the same boat. I don't know, with 3 months left to live, whether I would want to do that to her or anything. I don't know how that would work. I have no idea. And to visually see that in a movie like Clouds, where the guy was actually diagnosed with cancer and he had 3 months left to live, and it decreased very quickly, and he was in a relationship with his girlfriend. Um, and they just continued on like it was normal. His decision, his ultimate decision, was to continue his daily life like nothing had happened. He didn't want people to see him differently. He didn't want to be treated differently. He wanted to just be him, and he wanted to continue on with his life, which is very interesting because I don't know what I would have done in that situation. And so every time I watch that movie, I sit there and I think about it. I'm like, wow, what would I have done? And, eventually, throughout the entirety of the movie, you can see his mental struggle because he battles with this over and over and over again. He'll have mental breakdowns, end up laying on the football field, staring at the sky with his professor talking to him, who's the GOAT, by the way, in that movie. Awesome guy. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think I could know ultimately what I would do until it happened to me. But yeah, fear of the Lord, one of the virtues in Catholicism, is very. I think that would definitely play a big part in the last 3 months of my life. But yeah, I know you had said you had stuff to talk about before.
Did you say you had more questions? Or is that it?
That was I had one question, and then I figured I would come up with another one talking about it, and I would continue. But no, I didn't have another one now.
I gotcha. Yeah. Maybe. Yep. Hopefully. Well, I mean, it might happen. It might not happen. I guess we'll see what happens if it did happen. It'd be very interesting to see how we actually responded in that moment. I mean, we say these things, we have no idea what would really happen. So, but yeah. So going back to, I mean, it kind of ties into what you were saying. Like you have the fear of the Lord. You would want to get as many graces as possible. And it's why we as human beings, well, the world likes to, put off your death and just not think about it because it's this scary thing and you don't know what's going to happen after it. But for we as Catholics, I mean, we know what's going to happen after it, right? We're going to have, is that what it's called? Like we have the final judgment when we die? Or we go to the judgment seat? So yeah, so like we know that's gonna happen. So we have to prepare for it, right? If you're not preparing for your death, ladies and gentlemen, mm, uh, definitely something got to think about right there. And it's tough because what do you really do to prepare for your death, Cole? I mean, what do you really do? I know there's like a good amount of teachings on it. Not a lot is coming to the brain at the moment, except for just trying to get closer with God and trying to grow your relationship with Him, and trying to stay in a state of grace as much as possible. And if you don't know what that means, if you commit a mortal sin, then you are out of the state of grace and need to go to confession to have that absolved. And so yeah, just being able to stay in that. Do you have any other things, Cole, of how the best ideas of how to prepare for your death? Adam, do you have any answers?
I wouldn't say I have answers. Just thoughts, and they're pretty much very similar to you. I think preparing for my death, a lot of my first thing would be to make sure I'm right with God, to make sure I'm right with I would break it down like this. I'd want to make sure I'm right with God. That's first step. That's step one. Want to make sure I'm right with my family, and then want to make sure I'm right with everybody else.
And so to piggyback off that, we're talking about we don't know when we're gonna die. So you have all these, if you have like feuds going on, grudges you're holding towards anybody, grudges you're maybe holding towards God, you're mad at God, all of those can be let go like right now. You really don't know when you're gonna die, and if you take that to the grave, I don't really know if you can regret things after your death. I'm not really sure on that topic. But the people that live here on Earth, like if you have problems with them, they're gonna regret not making it up with you, everything like that. And then if you don't make up with God, then you're gonna go and die and potentially go to hell, and you're really gonna regret not doing that. So you may not know when you die, but make sure that those three things that Cole said: get right with God, get right with your family, get right with everybody else. To make sure that you're doing that, if you need to do it on a daily basis, do it on a daily basis. But whenever those come up, they're not worth waiting forever to figure out. They're not worth wasting your life on, just having a grudge towards someone else. You don't know how much or how long that person's going to be in your life. I mean, to talk about Cole Bissett, right here, we've lived together for almost a year and a half now, and we only have like a year and a half left. And luckily, we've never actually had any beef, so it's never happened. But if it did, I could never imagine it actually lasting long. We would talk about it in some way and get it over with, and probably a FIFA session. But yeah.
I had a really wild sports take last year that got you pretty heated. I don't remember what it was, but you were, oh man, that was it was literally for like a couple hours. But we were out eating at I think it was a wide receiver take on somebody, and I said they weren't that good, and you were like, "What is happening?" Who was it?
I think you said that Marvin Harrison was not that good of a draft pick coming up or something like that.
Or something, yeah. No, I said he was overrated. I'm pretty sure, and you were, yeah. That one got you pretty heated, but that only lasts what, 2 hours after, and it did end in the FIFA session. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, funny enough, I think guys are like two guys having a conversation. When guys get mad at each other, I don't think it's as complicated as when girls get mad at each other. I think it's very hard for me to hold a grudge against another dude, because I don't know, we're stupid, and everything's stupid, so it's just whatever. I don't really care that much. But yeah, I think it's not connected as much on an emotional level for us, more just a physical thing. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Whereas as men, it just doesn't happen that often to us. But as women, I know that's like a whole different thing for them. And we as men, we sit over here and we're just like, why? Like it could be the littlest thing, and it's something massive, and we don't really know why in the world it's such a big deal to them. But and I was gonna say, you guys just need to figure it out. Like that's what we want to say to our girlfriends or our moms. Sometimes when our moms get upset with something, we're like, what? But obviously we don't understand how that works for them, so I'm not gonna just throw things at women because that's not really my place. But still, get right with God, get right with your family, get right with everybody else. Very, very important keys. But another thing about the world that's really become an issue, Cole Bissett, is that people have become really opposed to their body growing up and growing old and having wrinkles or not being able to move as well, having gray hairs, all these different things. Cole, do you ever feel that fear, of your body growing up and your body degrading? Do you ever feel that?
I think with the household I grew up in, my parents are big fitness people, and so their mindset, and I think their mindset's great. While you're young, while you're healthy, treat your body right as best as you can, and then as you get older, you're going to feel better, and you're still gonna get old, like you're still gonna get wrinkly, you're still gonna slow down, but the progressive rate is going to be drastically slower than it would be if you hadn't done these things. And so I think about it a lot more. I think about it a lot because of my parents, just because I grew up around that. I think the problem with what is happening today a lot of the time is these synthetic forms of replacement for these things. Oh, I'm getting wrinkles everywhere. Plastic surgery, sure, everything. Just get it. Look young again, but in reality, it's just destroying you.
Yes, and this plays right into what I was going to say, and the fear of growing old and your body growing old. Ladies and gentlemen, there is beauty in that. There is pure beauty in that, and seeing your body grow up and to grow older. Cole Bissett, what do those wrinkles show? What do those gray hairs show? They show all the hard work that a person has done in their life. Why are we trying to take that away? Ladies and gentlemen, your body is a beautiful, beautiful gift, and that is what your life should be centered around, being a gift to everyone. And for mothers, they get to experience this in an unbelievable way, and that can lead to potential, all the things that happen with a women's body with pregnancy, and so many people get so scared of this and what can happen, and it's okay to be afraid of it. It is scary. There's a lot of pain that's involved. You don't really know what's going to happen to your body, but I call out to you and to just let you know, that is a beautiful thing to experience, and our bodies growing old is a beautiful thing because it's just showing how much we have given our body to the world, specifically to mothers, to their children, and just have the way that you've given your body. That's a beautiful thing, and people should take pride in that. People should be thankful to see that in other people, and this world has become so fearful of that. And as Cole talked about, with the synthetic ways to make your body look better by taking away your wrinkles or taking away your gray hairs, that's I don't really know what the word is to term it as, but growing up, seeing your body grow old is an okay thing. To see how your body has toiled and worked and given itself to the world is a beautiful thing. And I just wanted to go through that because it's the thing that a lot of people deal with. People are so scared of all these different things. But at the end of the day, a really cool thing to think about is, our bodies are going to get old, and they're going to die, and they're going to go back to dust. But our bodies get to be resurrected and glorified. I feel like there's recreated in the next life. I don't think it happens right as we die, but it's going to happen eventually that our bodies are recreated into a glorified body. That's awesome. That is so awesome. We are such a unique being in the universe because we are a body and a soul. We are the only being that has this incredible opportunity to be a body and a soul, and it's an incredible union. Why it's a union, Cole? Why do you think it's a union? Any ideas over there?
Body and soul.
Why is a human being a union? Do you have an answer?
Both body and soul.
But why is it a union? Why is the body and soul connected, Cole?
Because they're working together, because God gave both of us, and whatever we do with our body affects our soul, and whatever we do with our soul... Wait. I don't know. Does that work both ways? Yes. Yes, whatever we do with our soul affects our body. Because they're intertwined with each other, and so we can't just say... We can't take the body away from the soul, because then it just doesn't work. You can't do whatever you want with your body and it not affect your soul. And so
yes, Cole. You're saying the what of the union. This is what the union is, but why are we united in this way, Cole? Why? Not two persons, like two things, body and soul. They're united. Do you want me to give you the answer?
it's what makes us human.
Yes, Cole. But why is the union? Why is the union? Because that is the image of God, Cole Bissett. The union, the Trinity, the three persons united as one. We are created in the image of God. We can't just be one. We can't just be a soul. We can't just be a body. No, we are a union because we are the image of God. How cool is that? I don't even remember how I got started on this, but that is sick. So, just a little tidbit right there. I thought you were gonna get the answer, and you were just giving me the what. We need the why, Cole. And there we go. We got the why. Ladies and gentlemen, you are a beautiful union of body and soul, and this is how you are an image of God. Take care of your body. It is a part of you. You are your body. Your body makes visible the invisible. Take care of your body. Okay? It's going to die one day, and that's okay. But while you have it, take advantage of it. And one day, when we're all in heaven together, it will be glorified and recreated into something immaculate, even more beautiful than it is right now. Because I'm letting you know right now, you are beautiful. You are beautiful. Hit that thing, Cole. Bum, bada bum, bada bum. Practical prayer practices. Okay, I didn't know the timing of it, but that was pretty good. Okay, so last week, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about community prayer, and Cole Bissett and I haven't done the greatest job of community prayer, but I've taken advantage of what they do after each mass at Sabin, at the Sabin Catholic Center, BAM Catholic, and they have and we're getting another call. Who is this? I'm gonna guess Devin Bissett. It's an alarm. At 3 p.m., Cole has an alarm going off at 3. What in the world is that for? Do not put that camera on my foot. He had the camera pointing at my feet, ladies and gentlemen. We did not want. Here we go. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, there we go. We're back officially. So, yes, practical prayer practices, community prayer. At Bama Catholic, they have the rosary and the it's fallen. They have the rosary every day after mass, and it's awesome community prayer. A variety of people go, usually at least 5, and it's just awesome time to pray with other people. Did that today and was just thinking about that, and it was a delightful time. So community prayer for you, Cole. Any updates on that from you?
We have done a pretty poor job about remembering the rosary, which I would like to do again because that's fun and I need to start it back up. And it's really nice to have that. Really more personal prayer for me recently, so did not much community prayer at the moment. But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into our practical prayer practice that's coming up. Don't hit that transition button yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be seeing this on Sunday. Let me do my math here. That's gonna be 4 days from now. So I believe that's November 24th. That Thursday after that will be Thanksgiving. Get your turkey ready, ladies and gentlemen, for Thanksgiving. And what a perfect time to do a practical prayer practice of Thanksgiving. It's that simple. Just Thanksgiving out the wazoo. We already have Christmas decorations, and some people would say that we don't care about Thanksgiving. But ladies and gentlemen, that is just flipping wrong. We love Thanksgiving more than anyone in the whole wide world. And that's why we're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving all week long, giving our thanks for absolutely everything that we could possibly think of. And you are going to follow along with us. Hit that button, Cole. Bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. The shepherd of the week. I did time it up right.
13 seconds.
Da, 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 S-O-W. Off to Cole.
So, for my shepherd of the week, this is a football player, which we tend to have football players on here pretty frequently. It's an Alabama football player, actually. Currently plays on our team. Is there any gentleman that you would throw out a wild guess as to who would be a shepherd of the week this week?
I'm going to guess Jalen Milroe.
That is wrong. You have 2 more guesses.
I'm going to guess Austin Mack.
That is wrong. 1 more guess.
I will guess Cole Adams.
Also wrong. Bama player. we're going to go shout out Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore. Why Malachi Moore? Ladies and gentlemen, why Malachi Moore? Well, recently, I just read this story about him. I believe it was his mom. Don't quote me on that. His mom taught a kindergarten class. And so one day she asked him to come in. And so he came into their kindergarten class. And the class loved him. And they wanted him to come back. But there was this one girl that Malachi kind of became friends with. And so over the years, they would he would meet, go say hi, talk to her, hang out. It was really, really sweet. I don't really know how it continued from there, but they continued to build this bond. And there's a famous video of her out on Instagram and YouTube of her shouting at the TV, "Go Kai, go Kai!" Probably when he got like a pick or something. But really moving story how much effort he put into this friendship with this young little girl, and she valued it so much and held it to such high importance in her life, and it was almost like her having a brother. And so they just did a documentary on this. Alabama football did. They just posted it on their Instagram this week maybe. And so it kind of relates to our topic of today. I asked Caroline about it. I was like, "Why do you watch these? These are so sad." And she was like, "Well, it makes life real," which is true. And the reason she said that is because the little girl died recently. She passed away. She was still young too. And so it kind of puts into perspective. We have absolutely no idea what our clock looks like right now. And so it's like, take advantage of the time you got on earth. And again, with those three things, be right with God, be right with your family, be right with your friends. I see it in so many, many movies where characters die, or loved ones die, and the last thing their friends, their husband, their wife, their brother said to them was in a fight, and the last thing they said to him was something mean or an argument. And you see that absolutely tear these characters apart, that was the last conversation they had with these people. And it's really sad. And you know me, Dateline fanatic. The biggest thing I always hear from every single one of them is, "I wish I said I love you before they died." That's the "I wish," and it's every single family member. And so you have no idea when something's gonna happen. And so, shout out Malachi Moore. He probably won't ever listen to this, but we hope he will. But yeah, really moving story. Really nice to see that, and a man like you. So thank you so much. And we will kind of go back to our last segment of the show, which is literally just summarizing everything up. Do you have anything to say on the end? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember, the knowledge of death is what makes life real. Remember the three things. Get right with family. Oh, sorry. Man, it's really not smooth. Get right with God, get right with family, get right with your relationships with other people. Everybody else. Those are the three big checks. Me, Nazario, you, all of us gotta lock in. We gotta focus on those things. Yeah, life is real. Things happen. It's not fair in any way, shape, or form. And so it's just gotta understand that some things just happen. And so it's okay to be prepared and to let yourself be ready. And the fear of the Lord is a really good virtue to have. We want to all get to heaven, and that should be our goal for everybody else to get to heaven as well. So we thank you so much for listening this week. We will be back next week, I promise, with a happier quote. And we will bring such joy and positivity, because I don't know if we'll record over Thanksgiving break. We can probably try to get one out. But that puts us, timing-wise, probably releasing an episode after Thanksgiving, which means that we can officially talk about Christmas without being scrutinized for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Christmas is coming. I can already hear Mariah Carey frosting, and Santa Claus is here, and Red One has leaked in. And so now we have all these Christmas movies. Everything's starting to leak in, and eventually it's going to be a huge eruption, and it's going to be like the flood in Noah's Ark, and Christmas just can't be controlled anymore. Nazario and I are pushing the floodgates, and eventually it's going to overflow. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. God bless.